In today's episode, we are featuring the founder of Venture Catalyst and pioneer of India's startup ecosystem, Dr. Apoorv Sharma. Venture Catalyst is India's first integrated incubation platform. That had funded more than 30 startups in last 20 months. Yes, you heard it right. And that's why no wonder their founders are featuring in India's top 10 hottest angel investors. You've asked him the much debated question of valuation of startups, and this is what he has to say.
A lot of startups have basically this problem that they're not getting good valuation at the early stage. So your take on that, because you have disrupted that phenomena completely.
Valuation in Indian ecosystem till 2012, I'll tell you, there were single-digit valuations mostly. But after the emergence of so many unicorns in India, and more importantly, today we are about 5,000 angel investors across India, and every year around 30-40 new investor groups are adding. So money is in surplus in early stage, right? Okay. So the good startup, I'm talking about a top 1% startup, they have many options, right? So they don't want to, they've made a thumb rule. Most of the good startups I meet, they say, I don't want to dilute more than 20% any stage in the seed stage. Earlier it was like, even they were diluting 35%, right? Gone are those days now.
That was one of the problems. I mean, right at the very early stage, they were diluting 40%, 30%, 35%.
Yeah. So the reason why it was so, because in the Indian startup ecosystem, there was no clear foresight. There was no clear sight of what will be the path of the unicorns. Now we know the unicorns will be created only after 4 or 5 rounds of funding, right? So by that time, there will be nothing left in the hand of the co-founders. Now the startup co-founders know. So the trend is changing in Indian ecosystem, and this actually has already changed in the, we are now the third largest startup economy. So we also have to learn, right? In US, it is already changed. There is no valuation discussion because it is convertible note, right? So the caps are fixed and it is convertible note. In all the seed investments are happening on the convertible note. There is no equity investment happening. So the instrument has to come in India as well. So so we have to also evolve.
But this trend is, I still feel that apart from your organization, Venture Catalyst, you are pioneering both in terms of basically the higher valuation and the faster deals, because these are.
See, I tell you,
how many other people are doing it?
Yeah,
few.
So I will say the valuation is something which people calculate, because most of the traditional angel investors. They come from the stock market background. So in that case, what happens, they forget the value which a startup is going to generate, right? So that's, from my point of view, I believe that's not the right approach actually. Because these are two different asset classes. Stock market they act totally in a different way. This angel investments and early stage investment works in a very totally different way, right? And that's the reason we have to look at it, totally different way. Startup, when you're investing in a startup, you're investing in a business, right? You're creating a value, right? And this value is multiplying year on year basis, right? And the kind of multipliers which happens in the startup ecosystem is not comparable to stock market at all, right? So the reason why we suggest every angel investor to look at it differently, because this asset class is totally different, right? And the kind of valuation expectations from the startups keeps changing with lot of factors. So it is not linked to any sector, or it is basically it is a demand and supply thing, right? So today, if you startup economy grow, the valuation automatically grows, right? Today in US, the same startup which is commanding 10 crore valuation here, probably they will command 40-50 crore valuation there. Because it's surplus money available, right? There are about 3,000 startup investments happening in US every year, right? So because there is almost their primary investments happening on the startups, right?